If it has an IP address, it's a potential vulnerability. I'm Tonya Hall, and joining me is Justin Fier, Director of Threat Intel and Analysis at Darktrace. Welcome, Justin.
Thank you.
What does Darktrace do?
Darktrace is a cybersecurity company. We were one of the first to actually apply machine learning, what is well known now in the market as artificial intelligence, to the cybersecurity problem. Essentially, we designed a piece of software called the Enterprise Immune System that mimics the human immune system. And it watches over the network as if the immune system is watching over the body. And it can detect and spot really subtle anomalies on the network. And sometimes those anomalies end up becoming malicious software or insider threat or even IoT devices that a corporation didn't even realize were on the network.
IoT security is an important topic right now. How robust are the security measures being designed into IoT devices that are intended for both the consumer and industrial control markets?
Sure. Well, I think first you have to separate, ICS from the consumer market. Robust would be an overstatement. I don't think there's much security built into any of it. As I'm sure you're aware, the IoT market's booming and money is being just flooded into the market almost daily. And unfortunately, security is typically overlooked in many cases, just to try to get a product to market as quick as possible. I think the bigger problem is that we as a society have actually gotten so addicted to the niceties and the convenience of IoT devices that we tend to overlook the risk. My own house in particular, I've got over 40 devices on my home network. And me being in the security industry, you would find that to be absolutely bizarre. But to me, the convenience factor far outweighs. And of course, there's things you can do to protect yourself. ICS is a little bit different. I think you're starting to see the ICS community wake up, especially since the FBI has been putting out a lot of warnings about, potential ICS attacks from nation-state operators. And you are starting to see security being built into those ICS protocols and devices.
What are some of the predominant types of attacks that you're seeing on both the consumer side and the industrial devices?
Yeah, I think, it's just as many of the readers have read in the internet, things like the Mirai botnet, devices being co-opted or taken over, and joined part of large botnets, to carry out various different functions. I think the bigger issue in corporate America is combating all of these devices being introduced to the networks. The security team of today is struggling just to get a handle on protecting the desktops and the servers. And now you have thermostats, light bulbs, smartwatches, phones, you name it, being introduced to the network. And a lot of teams just are not prepared or don't even know that the devices exist on their networks.
On the industrial side, how often do you see some of the small single-purpose, seemingly innocuous IoT devices become the entry point for cyber attacks that have far-reaching effects?
More often than you would think. We've seen everything from electronically connected lockers at an amusement park to the conveyor belts at a factory that produced food here in the United States. I've even detected refrigerators at a large nationwide fast food chain connecting out to the internet to destinations they had never connected to before. Really, the bottom line is if it has an IP address, it can be used against you. And more importantly, if you're not aware of the device in the first place, then you really have no chance of, preventing any malicious activity being co-opted from that device.
How's artificial intelligence being used to both create and deter cyber threats?
Yeah, so, first and foremost, I think we need to understand what it is when we say artificial intelligence. I think we need to get beyond what Hollywood has kind of put in our heads. It's not a bunch of robots running around, mimicking humans. Artificial intelligence is really the study or various branches of math. And it really comes back to your statistics in college that you took. And so in our particular case, using machine learning, we can take a massive data set, which is network traffic, which changes thousands of times per second, and we can actually spot subtle deviations. That's just one aspect of machine learning and cybersecurity. Of course, there's machine learning on the endpoint. There's machine learning, as we've just talked about, at the network level. And then, of course, machine learning in the cloud now as everybody migrates off-prem to all these cloud infrastructures.
So let's just look at it from an industrial standpoint. In an industrial environment, how does an IoT device get installed on a network without the IT department's knowledge?
Right. Well, I mean, whether it's an ICS network or a corporate network, it all comes down to visibility. And you'd be shocked at how many security teams just have no idea what's on their network that falls outside of the realm of typical standard IT, that desktop, the server, the printer. I always tell a security team, if you don't have visibility, if you can't tell me within 3 to 4% how many IoT devices you have on your network, then you're already at a major disadvantage. And that's anything from employees just bringing in their own devices to make their lives a little bit easier, to building management, hooking up the HVAC system and not necessarily telling those on the security team that it's now internet accessible. Unfortunately, in IT, things tend to move faster than security would like. And oftentimes things get overlooked, for ease of speed and productivity.
So then on the consumer side, what security attributes should shoppers look for and maybe ask about when considering an IoT purchase?
Sure. I think it's impossible to say, I want to buy a device that's hack free or, not able to be exploited. I think it comes down to the consumer and practicing good cyber hygiene. Of course, segmenting your home network, putting all of your IoT devices on a separate VLAN, is probably the best way to go. Unfortunately, the majority of the residential consumer doesn't necessarily know how to do that, which is why we run into a lot of the problems we run into with large-scale IoT attacks.
Justin Fier, Director of Threat Intel and Analysis at Darktrace. Thanks for taking some time with us. If somebody wants to connect with you, how can they do that?
Just go to darktrace.com. You can read all about our technology, as well as read from actual testimonials from many of our clients.
Thanks again. And you can find more of my interviews right here or go to tonyahall.net. Thanks for watching.